With Milan announcing the signing of Pavlovic, could we see Malick Thiaw head to St James's? There's been numerous reports that Newcastle United are interested in Malick Thiaw from Milan. So if Newcastle were to sign the centre-back, what exactly would he bring? So my name's Antonio Mango and I scout, analyse and do a breakdown of all the best upcoming talents in world football. It looks like Newcastle United are interested in bringing in Malick Thiaw to St James's. Whether it gets done, that's a different story. But I'm going to be breaking down his strengths, weaknesses, and what he'll bring to St James's Park. So if you are new here, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to support this channel and so you don't miss out on another episode. So as always, let's do a quick background check on Malick Thiaw. Well, he was born in Dusseldorf, Germany, and he began playing his youth careers for all of Fortuna Dusseldorf, Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Mönchengladbach, before joining Schalke's youth setup in 2015. In Schalke's youth setup and rose through the ranks before making his professional debut on the 7th of March 2020. And after playing more than 50 games for Schalke, Malick Thiaw moved to Italy to join with Milan on the 29th of August 2022. Thiaw spent the first half of his debut season mainly on the sidelines, but after a few impressive performances upon returning, he emerged as a first-team starter. He began to start every game in the middle of a defensive three, with Tomori on the left of him and Kalulu on the right of him. However, manager Pioli decided to reverse to a back four, but Malick Thiaw kept his position in the starting 11. This just goes to show his tactical nous that he's capable of playing inside a back three, but also a back four as well. He then created a formidable partnership with Tomori, and they were the two first-choice centre-backs before Thiaw got injured on the 2nd of December 2023, which kept him in the sidelines for 8 weeks. Naturally, his first season at Milan was a much better, well-performed season than his second season, and I put that down to because of the injury he suffered. He's also been playing for Germany at youth level and senior level, and in my opinion, if it hadn't been for the 8-week injury, he probably would have went to Euros as well. To fully understand his defensive style, it's important to examine his relationship with Tomori and how the manager wanted him to play. Among the parent, Malick Thiaw accumulated more tackles and clearances per 90, whereas Tomori accumulated more interceptions. That goes to show that Malick Thiaw was tasked as being the more proactive defender, while Tomori was the one sweeping and blocking lines. Under the guidance of Pioli, he wanted them to play a man-orientated pressing system. This accumulated to a lot of one-on-one duels and also being an active defender. I'd say this played to Thiaw's strengths because it allowed him to engage with opponents, but also show off his fearless nature. Malick Thiaw is certainly a presence on the football pitch. He stands at 6'4", he's got rangy legs, he's got beautiful broad width, and he's got a big wingspan as well. As I mentioned earlier, he's a proactive defender. He likes to impose himself on the attackers, bullying them off the ball, engaging with them, and using his physicality to win back possession. This would actually work inside Eddie Howe's relentless, high-pressing, energetic style. This means that Malick Thiaw can use his physicality to be more of a proactive central defender, constantly stepping out the line to impede the opposition, essentially stopping any attacks or transitions from developing at an early stage. Let's begin with his defensive output. Well, he typically positions himself very well to deal with nearby threats. This gives him a solid base to work with. He's attentive and he's constantly checking his surroundings, looking for runners and tracking runners. You'll often see him making a lot of clearances, coming across, sliding in to win the ball. This allows him to show good decision making on whether he needs to shift across, tuck in closer to his defensive partner, or push up and engage and win the ball back. Thiaw typically likes to get touch tight so he can unsettle opponents. This ensures that they can't turn freely or allow them to create any separation from him. And this impedes not only the players, but the team's ability to gather any momentum in attacks. He's extremely aggressive and he'll use his arms to get across the opponent, to stifle their run or to move them out the way. strong, aggressive and assertive, so it's unsurprising to see that Thiaw holds his own in individual battles. This is both on the ground and in the air. Able to outmuscle opponents by jostling them off the ball or just forcing them into errors. He's extremely smart and calculated in the way he uses his body to win duels. He leaves his defensive line to challenge opponents, and his judgment of when to do it upon their first touch is really impressive. You'll often see him going into a crab-like stance, hunching his back, bending his knees. This gives him a good approach and allows him to approach the opposition different angles. As the German imposes himself on the attacker, it makes every movement awkward. It kind of suffocates them as they try and maneuver the ball. His proactiveness in defending will be utilised in Eddie Howe's blueprint to regain possession. So it's really quite clever in the way he defends. When he's engaging and being proactive, you very rarely see him going to ground. You only rarely see him going to ground when he's clearing or covering. When he's left one-on-one with an opposition, he adopts a low body position, he jockeys and waits for a moment to engage. And if an opponent tries to move the ball past him, he's quite quick in reacting. He often uses long, rangy legs to poke the ball away. He's really skilled at poking away possession. He's upper body strength to move his opponents off the ball, and he's got a wonderful technique of just wrapping his legs around just to move the ball away. This becomes really effective when the opponent's trying to receive on the half turn. But there's a little tweak I would like to see in these games that could really put those instincts to an upper level, which we will touch upon very shortly. And the reason I say that is because this runs massive risk of attackers turning them and bursting away into space because he's so committed to winning the ball. He's also an excellent inbox defender. He's exceptional, putting his body on the line, and he makes a lot of blocks per game. When the player's in front of him and he's reading on the game, he really excels. For his size, he's actually surprisingly quick. He's not got the burst of acceleration like a Mbappe or anybody like that. Once he builds up momentum, the power in the legs that he generates allows him to keep up with speedy attackers. And his tackling range is very impressive. His long range allows him to tackle from distance. This is a huge asset because it allows him to intercept more passes, but also if he does get turned, it allows him to use his longer strides to poke the ball away. So what's he like aerially? Well, being at 6'4", you would expect him to be very good, and he actually is. Big, he's strong, and he's very combative. He uses his presence and those attributes to great effect. Tomori's pace and athleticism covering him behind, this allowed Thiaw to have the freedom to go out and engage under goal kicks or long balls. When tested with long balls, you'll often see him jostling with his man, trying to maneuver them out of the way, and he's got an impressive leap for a guy so big. It also makes him a threat in both boxes, winning 72% of his aerial duels, which is in the top 2% across Europe. And then finally, I want to talk about his positional and his awareness. Well, for so much aggression, he complements it very well with some ever-improving awareness. I think this has been an issue in the past, but it seems to be improving. He anticipates danger a lot better than he used to, and this allows him to break up play effectively. This means his reading of the game is improving. It allows him not only to be a proactive defender further up the field, but also make interceptions. This further demonstrates his quality. Athleticism, aggression, anticipation, body stature. Malick Thiaw's got the 4 basic attributes for a central defender, but what's his ball playing like? Malick Thiaw is incredibly composed on the ball, and he's good with both feet, which make him a huge asset. From his debut season, you could see how comfortable he was in possession, shown for the ball, being an option for the ball. But he's a neat and tidy passer of the ball, and he does prefer to pass over dribble. But he tends to operate with an element of caution, so he doesn't recklessly turn the ball over or force it into errors. Pass accuracy of 91.9%, Malick Thiaw is an assured passer of the ball. Passing per 90 isn't bad either. It's not elite level, but it's not bad, averaging 4.08 per 90. Tells me he's extremely calculated in his forward and progressive passes. He doesn't force the ball, and he's doing it when the time's right, which is brilliant. Malick Thiaw often passes the ball in where he sees space, which gives more speed to his team's attacks. Happy to recycle the ball between the centre-half and the fullback, and he knows how to set up the nearest fullback with a ground pass into space. This allows the fullback to gather more momentum on the attacks. The centre-back is remarkably calm on the ball and often reads the game before it happens. He knows when to switch the ball and he knows when to find a ground pass into midfield. However, when he is put under pressure, he often struggles to get out of it. When he is put under intense pressure, he does seem to panic and pick out the wrong option. Also switched the ball extremely well with both feet, hitting the right flank or the left flank. A valuable asset to allow his wingers to isolate fullbacks in one-on-ones or just generally switching the play to open more gaps. Equally, he's very good at setting up runners on the same side as him with through balls. I wouldn't say Malick Thiaw is an elite ball-playing centre-back, but he's capable. He often prefers the safer option of just playing a 5-yard pass to his partner or the fullback or the midfielder. At times you will see him breaking through the lines. It's a positive sign because it gives him that focal point. And he seems like a confidence player. But what I'm trying to say is the potential is there. So if you can give him more confidence and coach him into how and when to play those passes. What are his weaknesses? Well, I think I've just touched upon in his ball playing. He's not very good in tight areas. And he's progressive, but not progressive enough. So because of his proactiveness in his defending, means he's also prone to leaving excessive space behind him. So coming up against teams with a much structured setup, they could easily exploit that space by moving the ball around him. Or if he's coming up against teams with intelligent players that are able to find pockets of space, they can easily do so to receive the ball, and they've got yards of space to run into. This is why it's crucial he strikes a good partnership with Botman, because Botman will have to cover him. Also, he's extremely aggressive and proactive, and he can overdo it at times. He sprints up until the right time to make contact. That leaves himself exposed to tricky wingers. In the fast-paced Premier League, you'll need to learn to be more savvy and control his aggression a lot more. This also happens when he gets too touch tight. Although he crouches his stance very impressively, he remains square on. He needs to angle his body more, so it allows him to move either direction against nippy wingers. This will become really problematic against tricky and agile wingers. Because of his size and his strength and his core stance, he's not as agile as a tricky winger. Lastly, he needs to be more disciplined. I don't mean that in aggression and he's walking around just kicking people. I mean that in disciplined in when he engages. Sometimes he just engages for no reason when he doesn't have to. And this often leads to needless fouls, or this often gives oppositions dangerous set pieces. So there you go, guys. There's a breakdown on what you can expect from Malick Thiaw if he is to join Newcastle United from Milan. There has been numerous reports, and that's why I'm doing this video. I've been desperate for Newcastle United to get linked with somebody just so I can do a video. But if you've enjoyed this, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well if you want to support this channel. Greatly appreciated. And once again, I greatly appreciate your time.